9. Today our lesson is about the cell theory. The key concept is cells are the basic unit of life. Let's see how this cell theory grew up and give the principles of the cell theory. Now the cell theory grew out of the work of many scientists and improvements in the microscope. A long time ago, there were no microscopes. Scientists used a single lens to magnify small organisms or to see details of any living things. Then the microscopes were invented. First the single lens microscope, then the compound microscope, and the scientists could see more details about the living things. These are the scientists that contributed to the cell theory. The first one was Robert Hooke, then after him came Leeuwenhoek, then Schleiden, then Schwann and Virchow. The first scientist, which was Robert Hooke, he was the first to identify cells. He observed hollow compartments in a slice of cork. He took this type of cork from the oak tree, and under the microscope he can see it's made of hollow compartments. He called these hollow compartments cells. And as you see here, they have wall and a hollow empty from inside. Now, after Robert Hooke, Leeuwenhoek, he made better lenses and he observed cells in greater details. He observed numerous single-celled organisms swimming in a drop of pond water. These organisms are made of one cell. After him, he came Schleiden, and he was the first to know that the plants are made of cells. Then Schwann concluded that all the living things are made of cells, not only the plants, also the animals and all other living things. And the last one was Virchow. Virchow, he proposed that all cells come from other cells. Okay? Now, the cell theory grew out and many scientists contributed to the cell theory. Okay? Now, the cell theory have three principles. The first one, all organisms are made of cells. The second principle, all existing cells are produced by other living cells. If we think about the cell, from where each cell came, it came from an original cell. Original cells divided and produce new cells. So all existing cells are produced by other living cells. We'll talk about this in more details later in the coming lessons. And the cell is the most basic unit of life, which means the cell make all the functions needed to stay alive. Now we have two types of cells. Cells can be separated into two broad categories based on their internal structure: prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Okay, now these cells, they share certain characteristics. First one, cells tend to be microscopic. That means you need a microscope to see them. You cannot see them by your eyes alone without the help of a magnifier. All right? So all of them are microscopic. All cells are enclosed by a membrane. There is a wall here, like a membrane, that encloses the cell. Okay? And all cells are filled with cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a liquid-like structure here where all the parts of the cell swimming inside, and all cells have DNA. So both cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic, they have cell membrane, they have cytoplasm, they have DNA, and they are microscopic. Now, what is the difference between these two cells? Now, the prokaryotic cell, like this one, they have the DNA suspended in the cytoplasm. It is not enclosed in something. While eukaryotic cell, they have a special structure which is called a nucleus, in which the DNA is enclosed inside this nucleus. Alright, eukaryotic cells have a nucleus, prokaryotic cells don't have a nucleus. This is the first difference. Alright, eukaryotic cells have membrane-bound organelles. If you look here, you will see organelles. Organelles mean small organs. As your body have several organs to make different jobs, also in the eukaryotic cells, there are organelles, tiny organs. Each organ make different job. We'll talk about this later in more details. And each organelle has a membrane around it. So eukaryotic cells have membrane-bound organelles. Alright, eukaryotes also may be multicellular or single-celled organisms. Some organisms, eukaryotic organisms, may be, eukaryotic cells, it may be multicellular organisms that made of many cells, or single-celled organisms like the amoeba. Prokaryotic cells, on the other hand, they don't have nucleus, so the DNA, if you look here, no nucleus in the prokaryotic, the DNA is suspended in the cytoplasm. Also, most prokaryotes are microscopic single-celled organisms. They don't have, like this, see, they don't have organelles, membrane-bound organelles. The only organelle they have is ribosome, and we will talk about it later. Alright, so we finished today. We'll see you next time. Please review the formative assessment in your book and answer the questions. See you guys.